Hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's session. We are very happy to welcome all of you today here. Thank you so much for this high attendance. As always, you are very motivated and very disciplined students. I really hope that every webinar that we'll provide this month and next month and for every month is going to be useful to you guys, and especially to those that are considering the SAT test, because today we are going to talk about that. But before this, I just want to mention that Education USA Virtual has on its website the list of all the events that we're going to provide to you for the next 2 months. And you can also find useful articles. You can also find MOOCs on the website that would prepare you to navigate through your research process or through your preparation process for studies in the US. I think the best resource anyway is going to be your Education USA advisor. So if you go on our website, you will also find the nearest Education USA center, and there you will find your Education USA advisor that will guide you along the way. So we just want to know how active you are and how important these webinars are for you. So we would just appreciate if you can just write in the chat from maybe where are you, how are you doing, what is your mood today, or what are the topics that you would also like us to talk about. That is going to be very helpful. Okay, so I have started already saying that the topic of the webinar, you're already also prepared to attend this webinar specifically due to doing SAT test topic. I just want to mention that today we have, and this month we'll also have a lot of success stories. So we decided to start with the SAT test. If those of you are already for a long time with us, you already know that we did with SAT, with College Board specifically, a webinar about how to do the SAT test and what to know about the SAT test. And we will have one more in July, by the way. So we'll have a representative. Again, Matt, he did it last time and you really liked it. And if you will have more questions after this webinar, you'll have the chance to also ask Matt next month in July. So today we're going to have a student that will share his experience. That's actually a success story because he has also been admitted to Temple University, and we are so proud, specifically that we can participate in the process of having someone that has been accepted to an US university, and we are so proud to have him today with us. I think that's going to be his first webinar and his first experience sharing his story. So we have today with us Nikolozi from Georgia, and we're going to talk about his SAT test experience. So thank you so much, Nikolozi, once again for attending our today's webinar. We are really appreciating that. I will just give you the floor. You can just introduce yourself and say a bit about you, and then we can just move to the Q&A session part because we have a lot of them.
So I'm just a senior. I'm just starting in 2 months for my bachelor's degree at Temple University, and I'm really excited to be here. This is my first webinar, as you have said, and I read all the questions, and they're really, really cool, and I'm here to answer all of them.
Awesome, because that's what our students like. Please be active, guys. Submit your questions in the chat. We will first start with the questions that we as Education USA advisors have prepared to Nikolozi, and then we'll move to those who have been submitted by you earlier. So I guess we can already start doing that. One of the first questions that, of course, all our students would be interested to know: what motivated you to take SAT and to apply for studies in the US? You can maybe just divide the question and say first why you decided to apply to US and to Temple specifically, and then what was the role of SAT?
So all this started because I wanted something bigger. I felt like the system in Georgia was like too basic for me, and I wanted to test myself in a larger arena, which is US. And I chose Temple specifically because it's kind of felt like my university. It's maybe not the best, but it suited me. It was like holistically suitable to me. They have amazing degree. I checked the curriculum; it was amazing. They have some really cool programs, and I stayed motivated by like the simple will to ambition to reach something I really, really dreamed for a long time. And I understand that this whole journey is not like so short, and it's a long-term dream. it's like a Olympic hurdle race when you have to jump over the obstacles till you reach the goal. And I just stayed motivated by my dream. I didn't really have any specific tactics. I just set myself down and I just thought what I wanted in my life, and I just told myself that I wanted to go to America, learn all the practical stuff, bring this knowledge to my country, and just see how everyone just improves by it. It's just simple will and simple ambition. It was nothing really specific.
Yes, and when you applied to the universities in the United States, was the SAT test one of your priorities? How did you find out about the SAT test, and what motivated you to took it specifically?
So as a STEM student, SAT is often advised because it shows your math scores and it shows your English scores. It shows how prolific you are and how proficient you are in the technical studies. For example, if you go for some subjects like biology or medicine, you don't really need SAT there. But since I'm an in bachelor's. Oh,
Program.
yes, yeah, program. I kind of needed the SAT. Now this I really have kind of good application, so this SAT didn't really add much. It was like just another piece in the puzzle, and it just really didn't have much, but it's a sign to me that I'm on a good path, and I took it because it's something that wouldn't be really it would feel wrong if it missed from your application. So I just took it, just without really much hustle. I mean, preparation of it like took 2 months, and test itself was like just one day. You just go to some random school, you get assigned by college board, and you just write the test in 2 hours and leave. So I just view it as another obstacle, and without really overthinking, just went and did it.
That's awesome. I think that's the best approach, by the way, because sometimes people are taking it too serious. Of course, that's a very important
Yeah,
exam,
overthinking is not really helping you here.
for sure, for sure.
You just
And
need to go with the flow.
and now, as you started to say that it took you 2 months, and during all this, after taking the test, what was the score? Because I think we had to mention what was the score. That's one of the most important.
I got 1430. I got 730 in English and 700 in math. So my math was bit off. I expected a higher score, but I honestly was so overstressed. I mean, I was so overstressed. The battle with SAT was on mind game. Like it was like not really in technical stuff. I just tried to conquer myself to not get too stressed. And I think the main lesson I learned is that you just need not to overstress. You just need to go with the flow.
Of course, as with every exam that you would have to take, either if you go to the United States or somewhere else, if you stay in your country, that's the same approach you should take.
I think
Okay,
people are overestimating the SAT because in the end, it is just a test. I mean, I think what depends the most is who's holding the pencil, who's writing the test itself, because we all have different approach to it. Some may just take it as a chore. Some may just say that my life depends on this SAT and just might just go insane. And I'm just don't I'm just telling you that you mustn't overthink about it. Just go with the flow, go in the room, just write the test. It is a simple math test. 75% of the questions you can solve by decimals, and English is just simple pattern recognition. You just need to read simple books and understand them. And if you do, this test will be nothing new. It's just the price is too high. That's what makes SAT more glorified version of just common test.
I think that's a great motivation to the students. But we have more questions, so you will answer that, and students would get, I think, more motivation from you.
Yeah.
The second one: what were some of the biggest challenges you faced while studying for the SAT?
I think the biggest challenge was that it was like I was some trailblazer. I was like really alone. Nobody could relate to me. Like my friends were just out playing football or something. I just said trying to understand what do I need to do, what do I need to train, what tricks and what do I need to do. I was like, why? And honestly, that was the biggest challenge. Nobody could relate to me. I couldn't really find any material because, even though you can just Google in the network, what can I do and what can I read, there are no simple answers, and no, and it was just that, you can find any materials, you can find someone who will tell you something, and it was the biggest challenge for me. Yeah, and I don't think there are some other challenges for me specifically. I think all of us feel stressed because SAT is defining our next 4 years of our life and even some near future. And that's probably it. It was not some biggest challenge with me. I was just lonely and I couldn't really find anything or someone to mentor me.
Oh, okay. You normally should know that if you are part of the cohorts of the undergraduate cohorts, normally in I don't know, in any country that we are covering, sometimes you might find like-minded individuals that would be in the same process of preparing. But sometimes you can also reach, I don't know, alumni or students from Georgia that maybe could also help you. I know that this is not the case when an Education USA advisor can help you, because they can just give you maybe some common advices, but you really need something specifically related to
Yeah,
you.
I remember some people approached me with it, but I was too shy, and I really just, yeah, it's kind of messed me up because I was too shy to befriend some people. But yeah, it's who dares wins. You just have to go make some friends with the Education USA cohorts. Yeah, that's a great
Yes.
advice. Actually, I just didn't do it because I was too shy.
Okay, but that's a good tip, by the way, guys. So in case if you are an extrovert, that might be a solution for you. Okay, good. And the next one would be if you can just walk us through your preparation routine. So you said that it took you 2 months. Did you do a sample test before that just to see your level, or how was the process? What did you get at the beginning? Because you already said that at the end you had
Yeah.
1,400, but what about
So
the beginning?
I didn't really have any specific resources. I just viewed SAT as a simple test, which was just glorified, as I said. For preparation for my English test, and I just played SAT in two tests. It was math test and English test. For English test, I just read books. I'm telling you, I just grabbed some random books. I just grabbed Moby Dick. I just read it, and it gave me a good pattern recognition skills. I think a person needn't prepare specific for the SAT. Just prepare for an English exam. Like, how do you prepare? You just try to improve your pattern recognition. You try to learn grammar. SAT's English part has really bad traps. Is like they catch you for some article that is hidden in the question, or there's some poetry parts. You just need to solve the questions by experience. I didn't really specifically train for the SAT myself. I just for math, I just grabbed the math book. I just did all the questions. I just learned all the rules. I mean, I just took the most common way. And I also did sample tests. I took the first one when, like, the first week I was starting and getting into the SAT. I got really, really bad results because SAT's English part has a lot of traps. I mean, you're gonna read the sentence and you're not gonna feel how something stands out of it because you're not trained to see it. But there are some real bad traps, and to adapt to it, you just have to read more and more and more and more, and you're gonna see how something is not like a common sentence that you have met in your daily life. So I just think getting into immersive reading is a really good thing in English. I did that. I read books. I mean, I unfortunately I didn't really have any other resources.
What
I
about watching videos? Because they have the videos also posted on their YouTube
so
channels. They also have
Yeah, I watch
Instagram and all
YouTube
that.
like daily. I
Mhm.
watched like 10 videos of those, and I try to get the gist of the test. And I also learned all the traps SAT has by watching videos. So just go into the YouTube and watch all the videos you can find, and no need to stress. Just when you can during your day, just sit down and watch one video, and you're just gonna accumulate all this information, and at the end of the day you're gonna have a bigger picture. And I mean, thing is, just don't overthink it. Never overthink when something is connected to SAT. Just sit down, take your time, because what I love about the SAT is that you are picking the time when you're gonna write the test. They're gonna offer you the month, and you're just gonna pick it, and just pick the month which is the most comfortable for you. Sit down and just learn slowly, 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 and no need to rush, no need to hurry. And in case you're just gonna feel lost, you can always actually chat with the chat gpt. When I didn't know anything, I mean, as an extrovert, I really didn't have anyone to ask for something, so I just went on, asked chat gpt for something. There was also some Facebook group about SAT. I just joined it. There are some really, really good communities in Reddit on SAT. I mean, the internet is at your feet, and just go and take it. Just go everywhere you can go, search everything you can search, and just do it.
Yes, I think one of the most important part when taking any test, TOEFL, English proficiency test, or standardized test, is just to know what is the most accurate resource. I also wanted to ask, because you were saying that you were watching videos, what was the channel that you think is kind of one of the most accurate, one of the most credible what was one of, in your case, was that their official channel, or was that someone else channel?
I remember there was some girl. She had some really great tips. I tried to find it before the webinar, but I kind of failed. So I think the College Board's official channel is a really good one. And after that, YouTube has some really good recommendations, and you should go after them. Unfortunately, I didn't really prepare myself specifically for SAT. Yeah, I watched YouTube videos and all, but I just simply just went raw with it. I just grabbed the book and read. I didn't really specifically train for SAT myself.
Okay, that's totally fine. I think for anyone would find their own resource. As you said, with the university, it was your best fit. It doesn't mean that it will be for someone else, but it was your case. I also wanted to ask, you said that you started to prepare 2 months earlier, before you started to do the test. When was that specifically? How long before you started applying? Because the students were always wondering, should I start doing that a few months before I apply, or when do I do that exactly?
So you should do like this. You just sit down 1 month, just try to grab all the stuff and put it in your head. Just learn simply. Then go on and do a one sample test. You're gonna see some results. If you are like about 1200, then it's really good. Just try to make an appointment like 2 months prior, and 3 months are perfect. Is perfect. You just I think many people tend to underestimate or themselves, and they just my friend from abroad just made an appointment 6 months forward, and that's not good. Like, just don't overestimate yourself and don't underestimate yourself. 3 months is like a perfect time. Just take sample test. Even just no need to even prepare. Just take sample test. If you have about 1200, that's basically really, really good. Just and then make an appointment 3 months forward, and that's it.
And also, I think students should be critical about their English level. So I guess if their English level is already a B1, or I don't know, or something like that, it should be an advanced level of English. Then you are already prepared, because you were saying that you are reading, I mean, books, complicated books. I mean, not the easiest ones. And yes, and also it's challenging, because if you are for your undergraduate degree, you'd have to take the English proficiency test and then the standardized test. So you should divide that. And that's also very tricky sometimes. Okay, we will move to the next question. I see already a lot of questions in the chat. And I think that's one of the most important one, because students are always wondering about this part. What role did your SAT score play in your admission to Temple? I mean, I don't know if you know about that because the admission commission would never tell you that. I mean, they will just see overall what is how the application looks. And do you think that affect the scholarship opportunities? If you can just tell us if you get if you got a scholarship from Temple, just to have an understanding of
Yeah,
if that
so
makes.
in universities, when you apply, SAT is really, really, really good for your scholarship opportunities. Uh, I mean, you will get accepted, and I mean, if you are not going for the Ivy League, if you're going for some normal university and that is not so amazing like Ivy Leagues, you, you don't really need an SAT to be that good. But it is critical when it comes to scholarships. In when I got accepted in Temple University, I don't think my SAT score like changed something, because I think I'm not being humble right now, but I had some really good application, and I think it didn't really change much. But when it comes to scholarship, like my roommate my roommate who I'm gonna meet in 2 months, his scholarship is not as good as mine. I have. $20,000 a year, so it is 80,000 in a whole. So he got a bit more scholarships than I did because his SAT was not as good. So if you're aiming for a scholarship, you of course must do SAT and you must do good. And honestly, what depends is your pool of competition. Some year your SAT might be the best, even though it may not be as high as someone else's in the previous year because competition is bad that year. And that also depends pretty much. And if you are applying for an Ivy League, you're gonna need like 15, 16 high 50 1,516 higher. So I don't think it would really change any scholarship opportunities. But if you're applying for a normal university, just grab a decent SAT, and it will just pretty much leverage your scholarship opportunities real good.
Okay, that's a good one. I also want to mention, guys, to those who are not planning, or I don't know, if you'll fail, for example, to have the SAT score that you desire, there are schools who are test optional, so you can still apply for schools that are test optional. Because anyway, there is a holistic review, and maybe you'll have a better essay, maybe you'll have better GPA, maybe you'll not excel at SAT. So don't really stress about that because I think that's one of the most important part when students would take SAT. They would really rely on that score and they would really think that my scholarship depends specifically on SAT. I mean, that's somehow a true, but not totally. So focus in your application overall. That's a holistic review of your application. Also depending on your program, because you are saying that you are applying for a STEM program. I mean, you'll have a STEM program, and in this case, it's a bit more difficult. And for sure, it gives the commission a better understanding that your application stands out if you'll have a good score for SAT. Okay, I will move to the questions that we have received in advance because there are a lot of them. Okay, so one of the first question was actually where can I take the SAT exam? You can say about your case. Did you took it online, offline? How was the process
Also,
of doing that?
um, I just went to college board, and I just prefer to go do it, so not online. I just prefer to go and see other people, because I'd really stress out if I'd have to sit at home and do the test like this. I
Mm,
mean, I just prefer to book a place and go there. It was some uh, American school in Georgia, and I just went and wrote there. Now I don't know specifically where someone can take an exam. You just go to college board, you register there, and it's gonna offer you the places, and you have to reserve your place, and then you're gonna have to go to the place, to that school. Mostly, it's some schools that on that specific day offer the college board the ability to um, write the test, not to organize
organize
the
the process of doing the
yeah, the
test.
process. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't really know technicalities, unfortunately. You just have to go to the college board, and they have all the information you're gonna need. And
Awesome. That's
you're
yeah.
not gonna find any, just write to chat gpt, like, honestly. Any single question that can be asked to me can also be asked to chat gpt, because I mean, he has information.
Of course, yes. I mean, for sure, students would love just to have your experience in this case. But yes, your experience was, even though you are an introvert, you went to do it offline. But some students can do that online, because in some countries there are no offline. I mean, there is no possibility to do that in an office. So you should check, as Nikolozi said, on their website, on the College Board's website. There are going to be all the regions where this is available and all the other details. But as I already mentioned, we will have a webinar with the representative next month, so you can also give them this question. Okay. The next question is, what are some special details about SAT? I think you already mentioned the tricks in the reading part or speaking part, right? Did you?
Yes, so math. So when I was preparing for math and I did sample tests, there are like six of them, as far as I remember, and they change each month or something. So when you are writing math, like 75% of questions are, you just don't need to solve them. You just copy the part, put it in decimals, and you just have to read the graph and just grab all the details it gives you and just pick an answer. So 75% of the questions in math are just 1 minute. They don't even need you to think. You just do it mechanically. Just grab, put it in decimals, and answer it. Other 25% of questions are something like geometry. You cannot really put it in decimals now, can you? But they give all the formulas, and you just have to not overthink it. Just look at the question and try to find it. It's just geometry. Either you see it or you don't. Another advice and another detail I see is that the time on SAT is something extremely tricky. Sometimes you're just gonna spend 2 minutes on a question. You're just gonna not feel how 2 minutes just pass by you. So just give each question like 1 minute. Yeah, and if you feel like you cannot do it, just go to another one. And once you finish the test, just return to the questions you skipped. Now in English, so English is a bit complicated. It's more complicated than math because it is not, it's not as technical, and it is about having the feeling, or when you read the sentence, you must understand what stands out of it. Now there are two ways how you can do that. It is either by experience. I just read books. I was C1 before I went and did the SAT. So my experience with English was already quite high. So I just read books and I just did simple pattern recognition. And what about tricks and tips about it, and what shops SAT has? Unfortunately, I don't really. I don't, not right now. I don't really have any information on what kind of traps do they have. I remember when I was preparing for an SAT, I just researched some great books about SAT, and I read I didn't really read. I skimmed through them and grabbed the parts that seemed like useful to me, and I just wrote it in my diary which parts I should have had in my mind. For example, in some parts, articles are gonna be really, really, really badly put, or sometimes you're gonna need to have know as a technicality, when does someone use a comma, or when do you do something like that. And there's also a part which is not about trap, but it is poetry. you know um when I did a sample test and I got poetry, I was really, really just confused, because I have never read poetry, and I was like, I didn't understand what should I do about it. I was like confused as hell. Um, and a bit advice about that is just not so try to address the problem by reading the poetry. No, don't try to specifically prepare for the SAT, but try to prepare for a test in general. So just try to read some poetry before you do it, because I try to find so many tricks and tips on how to understand poetry, but at the end of the day, the whole test is about pure like work. You just have to sit down and learn it. you know there are some traps you may be prepared for, but you're gonna need to be prepared for the test overall.
Okay. And I also think that for any student, it's going to be a different method. So we are individuals. I mean, for anyone else, it will be another method that would work for the preparation. So yes, I mean, it's just you sharing your experience, guys. It doesn't mean that you have to just copy paste this experience, because maybe this is will not work for you. Because I think, and I can see that you have an analytical type of of mindset. So I think you would just have another methods that someone else that would have another type of mindset or of thinking. So it works differently with different people. So yeah, just take this as an advices. But yes, for you there might be another methods. Okay. The next question, and there are a lot of that. If I got 570 on reading and writing, how many hours a day I should spend preparing if I will pass SAT in August?
And
That's
now
individual, but
that's
yes, you can see from your experience.
that's a great question, and I just want to tell you that I understand you want to like train some hours a day, but I don't think that's a great approach. I think you should train when you feel like you can do it. I think having a rigid discipline, or oh, I'm gonna sit down 2 hours from this time to this, and I'm gonna train daily, is not a great approach for SAT. Just maybe just do it like with an adaptive style. Don't try to force yourself into some graphic or to some timelines. Sit down when you feel like it. Just read and read as much as you can. Research as many materials as you can. I think you'll feel extremely confident about SAT when you're gonna feel like you have the gist of it. When I went to write SAT, I felt like I had already written the test, because I watched tons of videos on YouTube. I have read tons of articles. Well, ChatGPT told me a lot of stuff too, and I mean, just have the gist of what you're facing. Uh, do as much as you can. Don't like kill yourself over it. Go with the flow, as I said. And if you are 570, that's actually kind of good. And how many hours a day? It's not really something I can answer, because this is a really personalized question. It depends on a lot of things, but um, in 1 month you're gonna already see a great improvement, and in another month you're gonna see even a bigger improvement. And this improvement is not really linear. It can be exponential too. It depends on how much confident you feel about your skills. This reading and writing are not gonna change really drastically sometimes, and sometimes they're going to change real drastically. I just can't tell you the technicality of it, but I myself improved by 250 scores in reading and writing when I was preparing for SAT. When I first wrote the sample test, I got how much was it? I got something like 520. The second time I wrote sample test, it was 1 month after. I got 700 as far as I remember. Then I did sample test in a week. I got 750. Then after 2 weeks, I did it. I got 790. You cannot predict it. Just
It was
try.
getting better.
Yeah, it's not something you predicted. It's just life. Sometimes you improve drastically, sometimes you do not,
Yeah.
and there is no simple system that you can calculate how you're gonna improve.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Yes, it's a different situation, and it also depends how many hours you are preparing, as the person is saying. Because I think if you have a higher interested, and if you know that, I mean, interest, and you know that you have 2 more months, you just have to, read everything, just watch all the videos. In one moment, you will just understand that you know better this test than those who made this test. So, as you already said, you are already feeling so sure about that. Okay, the next question, and I think we already touched it somehow. Someone was asking which test I should do first, SAT or IELTS. Someone
So
can do
so
SAT.
I myself first wrote IELTS.
Mhm.
Uh, IELTS, I took like 1 month of course in IELTS. I just studied 1 month. I went on the and got on the first try 7.5. And after that, I took 1 month break and just started my journey about SAT. Thing is, I think first writing a IELTS is better because when I got 7.5 in IELTS, I was damn sure about my English in SAT. When I was writing a SAT sample test, when English, when I saw English part, I was like, I'm gonna just go and ace it. It's gonna give you good confidence, and I think when you write for IELTS, you're gonna already know the English good enough so that you can not as much dedicate your time to English when you're going for SAT. Um, and if you first write SAT, your English is not gonna be good enough to go and straight up write IELTS. You're gonna still have to take time. So I think first writing IELTS is better. And well, I think you shouldn't try to do it together. My another friend from overseas tried to do so, and it is just not humanly possible. You can probably sit down and say I'm gonna do it, and you actually may try to do it, but you're just gonna burn out. IELTS and SAT have real different approaches, and it's just not really cool. Just go and write IELTS first. Well, from my experience, I preferred it, so it gave me really good confidence boost.
I also agree that it's better to do your English proficiency test because it prepares you, and it's much easier when you take the standardized test. Someone doesn't need to do that because I don't know, they are applying maybe to some test optional schools and they would not take SAT. But yes, it's better, I also think, to do the English proficiency test. It is for sure your work and the process to prepare. And yes, dividing it, that's a very important part. Don't do that simultaneously. It's gonna be a mess, I think. Okay, guys, we can see already in the chat that we have a bunch of questions. We'll answer two more from those whom we had in advance. Again, a lot of question is how to get from 800 to 1,500 in 2 months, in 3 months, and all that. So I think Nikolozi already shared all his resources and all he knows and all he doesn't know at this moment. So I think we're not gonna answer much more about this, but we also have here a part about the math part. Is SAT verbal part more difficult than math part?
I think SAT's the whole English part is ton different, tons of times harder than math, because math is something you can just turn your brain off and just do it like without any thinking. As I said, 75% of questions are just simple copying and pasting it in decimals, and other 25% is just it's not that hard. It's just simple questions, simple just questions you'd receive in your school during a test. But English is like, English doesn't really have those precise answers. Even though you may know grammar and you may ace it, sometimes when you read the question of SAT's English, it's not something technical. You're just gonna have to follow your feeling. It's not like some precise science. It is genuinely about how you feel. And for example, sometimes during an SAT's question, you may just not know the word, and you're also gonna have to follow your feeling, you know. So English is definitely something about your experience, something and how you can like follow your intuition. And I'd say English is extremely hard. All my friends whom I met after SAT told me that English was considered to be like so hard compared to math. All of my friends aced math, but got such bad results in English that just I cannot describe. For me, English wasn't that hard because well, I had C1 already. I wrote IELTS, and my math was actually crippling. So I kind of had to choose the one I'd go for, and for me, English was a preferable one. But English is considered hard by a lot of people. For me, it was not. But I'd say still English is harder because it's about your intuition more than about precise science.
Yeah. And now about the levels. Someone asked how much time I should prepare for SAT with B1 level. You said that you had C1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the best method on how can you prepare for SAT with B1 is first of all to I think even though you may learn all the traps the SAT may lay in front of you, I think it's important to genuinely have an experience with the sentences. So I think the first thing you should do is immerse yourself in the English speaking world as much as you can. I mean, just try to like watch all the videos in English, read, and I think the best advice I can give, the best advice from my experience is read the books. I mean, this is the most annoying answer. Like, it is the most exhausting. It doesn't offer the short term results. It is one big struggle to learn English, but just read the books, get aligned with the sentences, how they are formulated. I think the SAT is pretty much pattern recognition. I solved like a lot of questions by experience. I just have read, for example, that sentence in some book, and I knew what I should have expected from the sentence, and I could feel what stood out from the sentence. For example, some article was hiding, some comma was hiding, some word was used wrongly. And I think in this case, in case of this question, I think you shouldn't really try to improve your English specifically for SAT. Just improve your English in general and then learn all the traps for SAT. I think many people are just getting too prepared for SAT. They you should just prepare for test in general and then read what distinguished SAT from general test. SAT has traps. That's what makes it different from just a general test. If you know what traps to expect, other than that, SAT is just simple English test. I mean, if you know that, for example, this article is just messing the whole sentence, you just get rid of the trap, and then it's just simple tests. Just train for general test and learn all the traps. That's my point of view. Honestly, I think
Yeah.
some people may just not relate with it because my approach was like the most boring, but the most j- j-
Effective.
yeah. I just sat down and read books like for 9 hours a day and watched the videos for 9 hours a day, and I don't think it's something relatable, unfortunately.
Yes, not for everyone, for sure. An advice as an Education USA advisor when you start to preparing, having a B1 level is we already mentioned that you start with your English proficiency test, and you start doing that. You just take a sample. You just see what is your general level for this English proficiency test, and you can already see that you are failing, for example, for I don't know the speaking part or the reading part or the listening part. And when you would start working on those parts on the test on the general test, as you already have mentioned, then it's going to be much easier for you to prepare for the SAT, because you would just have to learn the tricks, as Nikolozi said, and you would be already proficient, I mean, in English, and the English will just get better by itself. For someone, it works just watching Netflix all day. For someone, it works to watch, I don't know, to read books, like for Nikolozi. For someone, it works just to watch some videos on YouTube. So everyone has a different approach, and different methods are working. It doesn't mean that everything will work perfectly fine with you, and it's going to be the same case. Okay, we move to the part with the live question, because we have a bunch of them, and I think people are already concerned. Okay, when is going to be my question popped on the screen? So one of the first question, a lot of highs, by the way, so hi to you guys. Thank you so much for watching us today. Thank you so much for being active. The first one is from I am Ghoul. Is 3 or 2 months enough to prepare for the SAT if my math is good and I prepare for the IELTS at that time? Oh my God, you are doing these two things simultaneously. Good luck to you.
So 3 2 months are perfectly fine. They're just perfectly fine. I think that's like the ideal amount of time you're gonna need, and if your math is good, that's even better. I think the math part of SAT is not a complicated part. It's just a plain math, It just tests your sense of logic, And they even give you the formula and the decimal. So I think you just need to have a good sense of logic and good just train the sense of logic, and train sense of reason. And if you are already training in math, I think even 3 2 months or just a longer amount of period, it's perfectly good amount. And
And what should be the English level, by the way? Mention that. Okay,
uh,
prepare in 2 3 months, but what should be the English level, the perfect
uh,
one?
so I for English, I'd say 3 2 months for English are also good, but I mean you have to be B2 at least. So I mean, if you're
Yeah.
B1, I don't think B2, like 3 months are just enough for that. Unless you're gonna just live in the English speaking world, I don't think 3 2 months are gonna be so generous for you, because uh it's not about SAT. From to improve from B1 to B2, you're gonna need 4 or 5 months, or 3 2 months if you're gonna just dedicate yourself extremely, yeah.
Yes.
And if you are also preparing for IELTS at the same time, honestly, I think your math is gonna be good, but your English is gonna suffer real badly, because IELTS has listening, reading, and it has its own rules. When you're writing IELTS, you have to memorize all the words, all the uh, transitive verbs. You have to memorize everything. What words to use, what not to use. You have to train your ear also. You have to improve your essay writing, and it's just not it's just gonna you're just gonna go mad, so um uh no, I don't know, you should, if you are genuinely confident in your math, you should just try to complete SAT first, because after that you can just for some period of time just forget math and go full IELTS. Or you can when I was training for SAT, I kind of trained for math like myself, just uh not for SAT. I just trained my math in general, so I kept maintained my math skills, I'd say that. So I think you should probably try to maintain your math skills and concentrate on IELTS first. And then when you're gonna have to face SAT, you're gonna have all the skills from IELTS, and your math is gonna be in a shape that you can train in 1 month. So just don't try to do it at the same time. You're gonna
I
have,
mean, you already started to doing that at the same time, but I mean, just giving priority to the one that is going to
yeah.
be kind of not much easier, but kind of, yes, it will ease your work. It will optimize your time, and it's going to be more efficient for you. Yeah, just doing IELTS first and then moving to SAT. That's how we consider, but maybe it will work differently. And if you took already the sample test, you already have an understanding on how is it for you overall. Okay. The next question from Zakra. What are the difference between someone who wants to be a lawyer and someone who wants to be doctor? Do they take the same exam?
Uh,
Uh, I think I will have just to answer this one. It depends on the program. Also, if you are taking a bachelor degree or a master degree, you can refer to your Education USA advisor. By the way, they can give you more details. But yes, there are different exams for lawyers, different exams for medical school. And if you want to take the medical school, you would have to take a bachelor degree. If we're talking about a bachelor degree, in a field that is related to medical school. So that should be biology, chemistry, or something like that. But for lawyer, yeah, that's kind of much easier. You can take it from I think from the beginning. So yes, I think we need more details on this one. But an English proficiency test, that would be that would be necessary for everyone. If you are applying for a med school, and if you are applying, I already said, for chemistry or biology, it's gonna be desired to have the SAT test. If that's about bachelor degree, if it's master or PhD, that's another thing. So it depends on the program. You wanted to add something here?
well, I don't really know the technical stuff, so
Yes. No, because I was like, okay, do you want to add something here or not? Okay, the next question from Rail. Can you explain us your daily routine for preparing for SAT? He answered this one, so you can just watch the recording. From the beginning, we will try to answer those whom we still have in the chat, because there are still a bunch of them. The next question from I am Gul. How do you learn idioms and other unstable topics in the verbal part? I'm really worried about verbal. Everyone is worried about verbal.
honestly, I wasn't worried about verbal. I can't relate for that, but thing is, I just, all this information about traps and all, they're not written in a book like all of them. They are spread out into the world like Pokemons, and you have to read so many materials, grab the important insights, and write it down. And uh, you just have to research it yourself. Unfortunately, there's no some I don't really know any book that has all those information summarized. uh Try to search in YouTube. When I was preparing for English part, uh I asked ChatGPT for the great books about SAT. I just grabbed the book, I'd skim it, I just grabbed all the juicy parts, to say that, and I'd write in my diary, I'd summarize all of this, and you know I just learned what was verbal, what was like, what they tried to catch me on, and I just armored my part of that. So unfortunately, I cannot tell you where can you learn it, but how do you learn this? Just research generally, watch YouTube videos. They tell you what to search for, what to look for. Unfortunately, I had all of this information like when I was writing SAT, but I was so stressed after I finished my SAT exam that I just forgot that
Roll
part of
everything.
my life. Yeah, I was like, never again.
Okay. See, and you are saying to not stress now. You are not really motivating them now. No, I'm just kidding. It's just your approach,
I
guys.
think
I think it's
SAT is
stressful. I
a
imagine it's
state of
stressful.
mind. It really
Yeah.
depends how do you view it. Someone may just view it as a chore because you just go on and just do math and just do grammar. Oh, how can that be complicated? For me, I was really stressing badly because it was like my life is gonna depend on this. What am I gonna do? So I'm advising you, just don't overthink it. Just don't overthink it. Just a simple test, just a simple glorified test. And honestly, unless you're aiming for Ivy, even if you're aiming for Ivy League, the high scores are really not so hard to achieve. Just try to not burn out. Have an adaptive system. Do when you feel like it. When you can't do something, just take a small break and try again. Don't surrender and don't burn out.
Yes, don't do that, guys. A lot of support from your family. I think that's also a very
Yeah.
good advice. They have to be very supportive that time. I mean, they would just see you with your books, with you watching a lot of videos and doing all that. So they have to be very
I
supportive.
mean, it's extremely polarizing when you are
Yeah.
just sitting in your house reading books and all your peers are just having fun in their life. I
Well,
remember when I was writing SAT, it was summer and I just had to train for SAT in my house when I could see from my window how my friends just had fun. And honestly, just I understand SAT is like a long-term goal. You're not gonna like get rewarded like instantly. Just I think you have to integrate preparation into your life. Like, don't make SAT your life. Just integrate it and do it as much as you can. Um,
okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. We will have three more questions, I think, in the chat, and I think we're gonna wrap with them. So one of the questions from Marina was, "What is the best method to read in English?" If we can answer that shortly.
uh,
What was
just
for you?
just grab find the book you just enjoy, like find the book you enjoy. You just the best method to read in English is find the book you love and enjoy. I love Harry Potter. Like, I just grabbed the Harry Potter book, and the process has to be enjoyable. You don't have to force it. Just grab the book. If you don't understand word, just use Google Translate. And process is not instant. You're not gonna be like mastering English in 1 month. Just grab the book, read it, translate it. You have to have genuine enjoyment in it. And honestly, just try to make it harder and harder. And that's it. Honestly, just don't force it. That's the most important part. You may just force yourself to read, and you're just
Yeah.
gonna suffer more. Just find what you enjoy.
What I can also advise here is someone likes to read it like electronic books were read it on the website where but someone likes to read it on the paper. So if you want to read the book itself, that might be enjoyable for you. So buy books. If you want just read that online, read that online. So that's also maybe helpful for the process of reading. So just do it as enjoyable as possible. I totally agree with that. And that works for any test you're taking. Okay, question from Rail. Will watching English videos with the subtitles help preparing for the SAT?
Uh, Now, I'd advise you to read in English because, I think watching the videos are, I mean, unless you want to grab the insightful parts of it, if it is a good preparation for IELTS to train your ear, but if you are preparing for SAT itself, you should read as much as you can. You know, uh, Languages are simple patterns, structure, just structures. If you know the structures, if you are used to them, uh, you're just gonna ace the English. Just read as much as you can, and not necessarily the books. Yeah, I'm telling you to read the books because I love books. You can just open some CNN and read the article. Just train your mind, train your cognitive reasoning to recognize those structures, and that's it. If you're all not if you do not find reading enjoyable, I mean, you can kind of watch the videos, but well, I didn't do it. I just watched the videos of SAT to learn about SAT, but when I was training for the English part, I trained by reading.
Yes. I think watching the English videos, by the way, can help you with your listening part, and that can be for another test. So, also with subtitles, that can help you with your writing because you'll see the words and you'll know how to write them. Maybe that can also help. I think any method actually would help in a way. So, try all the ways. Maybe any way of that will help you. The next question from Jules: How to use Desmos format? Did you use that?
Yeah. So when you're writing SAT, you can during the test you can open Desmos, or you can bring your Desmos. It's like calculator, but you can just open the Desmos. So it's a small button. You click it and you have it there. So if you're preparing before the test, just open the Google, write Desmos, and it is a tool that helps you with the 75% of questions. It is it is a graph calculator. So when you meet equations, you just copy the equations and the decimals, and you read the graph. Uh, you know, just if if my explanation is not good enough, you can just Google, open the YouTube and watch how the people use it. And learn the ways you can use it. Uh, Myself, I just use this in my daily life because it's a great graph calculator. So I just implemented it with my math. Unfortunately, I can't really answer the technical part how to use decimals, but just research yourself and just open Google and type decimals.com.
You should browse it and practice it, I
Yeah.
guess. Then you'll just have the understanding. Okay. And the last question from Julduz. During your preparation for SAT, you read books in English or your native language? It was English, right?
Uh, yeah, it
Mentioned that.
was English. Generally, reading is good because all languages are structures, and even if you read in another language, you may get used to the structures. But when you're preparing for SAT, it is like 10 times more useful to read in English because uh, another complicated part of SAT is that isn't the traps. It's some obscure words that people last time used in some Middle Ages. I remember when I was writing SAT, I met some word. I don't even remember the word. It was some old French, medieval French word put into a sentence that they told me what is the meaning of the sentence, and I was like, I haven't never seen this word. How can I solve it? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and some sentences had the words that my friends didn't knew, but I knew because I read the books. So I think another great bonus is that when you read in English, you will find the words that you may meet in SAT. I remember when I was watching YouTube video about SAT. A guy told me that you can learn all the traps you want, but you cannot really learn in a video how to improve your English generally, so you can be prepared for SAT. Just read, learn all the new words, remember them in your head because you may just your whole future may depend on that word during the SAT.
Yes, unfortunately, yes. And I think that's it's valid for all the tests. Sometimes people would think that TOEFL is super academical and super difficult. So yes, you would also have to okay, you would also have to be very careful about that. Mohammed actually wrote if we are able to see his questions. Yes, we do, and we got his question. My math is well, ranges in plus 700, but English is not that good as it's not my native language. If my English score ranges in nearly 450 to 3 months with about 8 hours per week preparation will be good to be capable of joining SAT this year.
So
I think we discussed that, but if we can just give an answer shortly on
yeah.
this.
So before I answer the main part of the question, I tell you this: when you go to your SAT test, don't just go one time. I went to my SAT test 2 times actually, and my friend went to the SAT test 4 times. It's not really necessary to do it in the first try and just be,
Yes.
"Ooh, I did it in the first try." Just do it as much time as you can. I mean, yeah, it is a bit pricey, and I understand that part, but if you can and if you have time, do it multiple times. Just now I can like answer if you can do it with 8-hour training daily in 2-3 months. Oh wait, per week. Oh, that's actually normal. Yeah,
Per week,
I,
yes.
I can tell you like exactly, but honestly, why not to try? I have improved greatly, or as I said, 1 month and 2 months. Give it a try, and if you fail on your first try, when you go in for the second time, you're gonna go in the almost the same environment, uh, and sometimes you may even go to the same place during the exam, and just you're gonna have more experience and you're gonna be more well prepared. Just you know give it a try. If you prefer the first time, go to the next year. Don't really be like, I'm gonna have to do it on the first try. I did it on the first try. The second time I went through, I just didn't prepare for it, unfortunately, because I was too stressed. and I had to depend on my first try. But my friends actually got their best results on their third and fourth try. So
Okay.
your best.
That's a great tip, by the way. That's a really great tip. I just want to mention to this question, by the way, that it depends also this 8 hours how you will spend them, because it's also very important to do them efficiently, and to read specifically the information that you need. I mean, try to allow time and efforts to read the information that's specifically related to the official website, maybe, or to some sources that can really help you, or to reading books like Nikolozi said he did. The last question from Leila: if I read mangas instead of books, would it also be helpful?
Now, when I was preparing for an SAT, I read comics. Now I don't
Oh,
read mangas, but I read comics like well, I I mean, thing is, the comics and mangas is really short sentences, and honestly, I can't tell you how much my comics helped me. But uh, you know, if it is something you enjoy greatly, I mean, you should read them alongside books. Because you may meet some really good words in those mangas, or you may just you know. I think it's also good for your pattern recognition skills in general too. Try to mix it. I don't try to find the absolute answers that will be like
yes.
or it is extremely personalized. Just try it yourself. No need to set a rigid time to prepare for something. Just try it out at first, see how it feels. You may feel great improvement if you just read thousands of mangas instead of reading like some books instead of those. Just try it. You have enough time to experiment what type of approach is best for you. Now, for
Mhm.
me, reading books was the best because I mean, I found finding them a great enjoyment, and it was something I found myself comfortable in. If you feel comfortable with mangas, just give it a try. Nobody can tell you that it is impossible, because you are just a new person. You are just an individual who may have his own or her own approach.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I mean, so many good advices. I really hope, guys, you will apply all of them. But remember, one of the most important thing about the preparation is individual approach. So it shouldn't work for anyone. I mean, the same method that Nicole were using, and vice versa. So yes, experiment everything, and then you will just see which
I mean,
one works.
life is a state of mind, so you just
Yes.
have to have your state of mind and just go and do it. Don't try to search for absolute answers. There are no absolute answers. Just give it your personal best.
Yes, yes, for sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the Q&A session part. Thank you so much for answering all those and sharing with us so many tips, so many reactions from so many people on our Facebook. Thank you so much for. I think there's a lot of support for Nikolozi here. So thank you everyone who watched us today. If you guys will still have questions about the experience of Nikolozi or about SAT in general, remember that we will have a webinar about SAT with their representative in July. And also, you already, I think, have seen in the scrolled version on this screen that we will have more webinars on the English proficiency test and standardized test. And we will also have a lot of sessions with students who will share their experience on TOEFL, IELTS, and also representatives and educators all around the world from Duolingo, IELTS, also TOEFL. So yeah, stay tuned. A lot of useful information and tips you need now. Thanks again. I wish you, Nikolozi, good luck. I wish you to succeed with one of the most important things that is coming now into your life soon. So yes, good luck. I'm really excited to see you in another webinar, sharing your experience and saying hi from the States, saying hi from the campus of Temple University. I'm more than sure that you will succeed and you'll have the best experience ever. And to you guys, thank you very much for watching us today. Go on our website, check the agenda with all the events that we already have scheduled for the next 2 months. And if you'll have questions, submit them in advance. Hope you really enjoyed our video today. Thank you so much.